All right, we are going to go ahead and get started. It's 5:01 on my clock. Today is Tuesday, November 1st, 2022. We're going to officially call this meeting to order and introduce who's here, starting with Terry.
Terry Budden.
Julie Jackson.
Connie Burgess.
Nicole McDermott.
Chris Wynn.
Clark Nelson.
Rich Nye. Todd Huber.
And Karen Winder. Welcome to those in attendance and also to those listening in online. We're going to go ahead and get started with our capital and construction update by Justin and Don. We'll turn the time over to, I don't know who's taking the lead. Justin? Are you Don? Well, whoever.
If you notice, we're having a technology glitch where everything you say ends up on the screen. So we're trying to...
Oh, that's dangerous.
So talk very carefully.
I can't handle that.
So we have added live captioning to our live stream, and that's what that's tying into. The sound is projected.
Oh, perfect. For hard of hearing
So
individuals.
if we don't swear, it will show up on the...
But this is not...
Usually not a problem, but... All right, on that note, we will officially turn the time over to Don and Justin.
It's duplicating, so we would like to turn that off. We're not going to turn it off, we're just going to go. Go ahead, Justin, on security, please.
Okay, thank you. Okay, security projects. We have two projects that we're about to bid. We'll probably bid those right before Christmas so that we can start in January. We'd like to get that to the board for approval, and then we'd like to get ready to go this spring. That would be Woodstock and Oakwood for an April 1 start. Both principals are aware and are excited about, or willing to relocate as we have to go in and move things around, and so they're on board with that. That would be this spring and be ready to go for an August completion for the kids in next school year. And then that leaves 4 elementary schools left. You can see on there in that's Silver Hills, West Kearns, my glasses here, Western Hills, and Valley Crest are in design. And so then we'll get those as fast as we can afford our budget to finish up those last projects. That being said, I've got a slide here of William Penn. There we go. And you can see there on the left, left is the main office, looking into the main office from the new vestibule that you'd be coming into as a patron after the bell rings, looking at the new office millwork there where the office staff would be. And then the right is a picture of the new curtain wall glass system out in front of the building. So it's exciting, and we've been in contact with our principal up there, and she's been great to work with, and so we're buttoning that up as fast as we can to get it back to them. And then Fremont. Fremont is the school that we're working on underneath, where nobody sees these behind the scenes, but our concrete piers, columns have had some issues over the years, and so we've gone back and you can see where we've added concrete, either bases or fixed, patched and repaired on the right there. You can see how that's been enhanced and fixed and strengthened so that we don't have opportunities for the building to be weakened in the future. So that project is moving. We're into phase 2 of that, and it's not, as far as we've been told, it's not interrupting anything at the school. They're just working down in the crawl space basement there, if you will, and trying to get that done by the first of the year.
Finishing up our GEC chiller replacement here. Again, one of the things that had us greatly concerned is that these chillers do cool our data center. And so it's not about the comfort of us as district employees, but it's about the comfort of the servers that keep all of our data. And so we have chillers online, and we just have some control work to finish up. But at this stage, the primary cooling is back, and the backup for the data center has occurred. So we feel pretty good where we're at. And yes, we have to have chillers running in the winter in the data center. So we may heat this building, but we sure as heck cool the rest of it. And then this very large chiller has been demolished. It took a little over 2 days to cut it up in sections and take it out. So big pieces of equipment from the original hospital. They've served the hospital and the district well for darn near 30 years, and it was a good time to replace. Again, continuing on some of our HVAC type controls, Hunter Elementary had an emergency boiler replacement. The boiler went out. These are very long lead items these days, and so we've been fortunate to get the boilers up and running. We have one of those running, which is adequate enough to heat the school right now as we work through our controls issues. So again, on October 24th, we were able to fire up that boiler, and everything is well, and the school will be comfortable as the winter season comes online. We'll also be tracking these through our energy management software to see how much more efficient, because we know these are more efficient systems, what that does to our bills and how it affects our energy consumption, both on the electrical and gas side of the operation. Hunter High School getting an awful lot of controls upgrades. So when this school was built in the 90s, we used a lot of pneumatic systems. Believe it or not, we control everything with compression and vacuum, opening and closing, hundreds and hundreds of little valve boxes in the air conditioning system, and that's severely outdated and breaks and leaks often. And so this new controls upgrade takes it to little electric motors that are much more programmable, and so it aids in healthy circulation of air as well as comfort to our students. Shift now to new construction and Skyline High School.
The punch list work is ongoing in the new gymnasium, patching up a little paint here, defect there, and that will continue for a little while, working around the students, so that continues. Outside there, though, around the new gymnasium, we have the underground utilities going in, continuing with for the academic building that's started. We'll show you some slides in a minute. Tilt-up panels that started for that, and then some of the structural steel, which we'll show you here in a second. So yeah, there's the slide you can see looking basically straight north. The blue up to the right is where the tennis courts will be, the football field to the far right, and then you got the synthetic, soccer field and lacrosse field there straight away, and then the soccer field to the left is new grass. What you don't see, and you'll see in a minute, is all over to the far left is the new the softball field, and we've actually got the grass down, which is the sod down, which is awesome. Would you mind going back just real quick? What you're looking at right in the middle of there is the old gym to the right, but where they're building, and see that large crane, they're standing panels and getting, there's one panel already stood there right in the middle for continuation of that main hallway that comes from the far north, athletics, all the way to the south, which is where the new auditorium will be. So that's a main corridor there, if you will. That's looking west. The blue is now, I'll show you in a second, the blue has now been covered up in concrete, but you can see those fields again I was just mentioning. There's the sod on the softball field. It got installed just before the snow last week, so it's had a chance to actually get some fall watering, and we're excited about that. This is where that blue part of that tennis court was. Now that was just an underneath. Now you see the concrete there, the cables, the post-tension cables, and then we've got some of the poles going for the fence. So exciting there on the tennis courts are progressing, which will be open for the fall season next year. And then under the financials, there was a change order last month that you, as the board, approved for Skyline, and one for, we'll talk in a minute, one for Cyprus. But they are, we didn't roll those into until you approved them. Now they've been rolled in here. So that's really the main change on the financial for Skyline for this last month. You see that we did, the previous slide showed that we did close out the baseball package has been closed, so that's fun to have things kind of wrapped up to that point. So that's Skyline.
Moving on to Cyprus. Cyprus is seeing a lot of activity on the site. Our retaining walls that go around the front of the building, about 90% complete to keep that parking lot at grade and to keep nice and level for ADA accessibility. We're working diligently on the stormwater retention chambers. And we'll show you some images of those, very deep holes. I think we're 17 to 20 feet deep, depending on where we're at, and then filling those up with the appropriate storm drain chambers. Gymnasium and pool tilt walls have been erected. orchestra pit and other floors in the auditorium have gone up. And then the auditorium tilt is what we're going to call weather wind dependent as it sets itself. So they're waiting for those calm days to stand those very large panels up. Tons of steel truss going on at Cyprus as well. It's really starting to look like a building. This is the athletics package side. If you were out there today, I mean, you're really looking at 25% of the roof deck on in this image. We're probably 90% done today. So it's moving along very rapidly. Backfill along the outside of the building progressing nicely as well. Again, this shows you the future stage and orchestra pit, and then the flat work to the right of the image is the seating for the orchestra. You're starting to see, again, that roof deck go on over the locker rooms, and again, we're closer to 90% complete today. Those are your storm water chambers going in, and a good look at those terraced retaining walls as well. So the earthwork continues rapidly, and it's moving at such a pace that we're even starting to do footing and foundation work for the concession stands out by the auditoriums. And so we're starting to progress away from the footprint to allow us to get some of those buildings set. So we'll start to get into field work and other things on the site. So it is moving at a pretty good pace. And again, as you would expect in a greenfield site instead of working around an active school. As Justin mentioned, we had change order 14 approved by the board for $161,000 for the additional soils conditions that we encountered out there, and that's been incorporated in, and we are current on change orders for that. And our good friends at Westlake STEM Junior High School, things are moving around very well. I know some of you get to drive by it on your commute. Super excited with its progress. We're starting to see not only steelwork go up, but the masons have been busy on the gymnasium section, and we have about 75% of the slab done, and we're starting to get some good, believe it or not, interior framing that has been occurring even though it's not in these pictures. You're starting to see that gymnasium structure in the back of house that's going in, kind of the small rooms to the lower part of the picture. That's kind of your back of house, including some of our equipment and storage areas. Our academic wings, again, starting to actually see some exterior sheathing go on. That's on the west side, southwestmost corner of the academics. Starting to see some of those interior framing projects going in. Mounting up some earth as part of the main stairway that gets you up to the second level. And yeah, that's good. We had preparation for the paving of the north parking lot, so we're moving even on some site work there. And then the library and teacher collaboration areas, that's kind of what's center and prominent in the building. That's where a lot of our glass work will be to let in the natural light, even on a curved wall. So that's a very aesthetically pleasing part of the building. And again, starting to see some of that roof decking appear. So they're moving quickly to try and get dried in as much as possible. The west elevation on the gymnasium shows the amount of daylight that we're trying to incorporate into the gym section. And then this happened to be at about 8:45 in the morning. The golden hour of sunrise, that is the gymnasium interior wall that you're looking at. And they were pretty much topping it out over the last couple of days. So solid progress at Westlake, and no real change orders to talk about at this stage after we approved the one that was a request from West Valley City. We did that last month as well, if you recall. They needed some site improvements, sidewalk changes, etc. That takes us fairly current on our projects. Any questions of us?
How much does as the weather is getting cold, how much will that delay, or what does that look like?
Cold really doesn't concern us as much as moisture. So snowfall, rainfall can change the construction cycle of a site. We can do most of the work that we need to through the winter. It does slow us. So if the summer runs at 100%, do I think that winter will run at 80 or 85? If it's a tough winter, you bet. If we don't have our concrete slabs down, that makes it even more of a challenge. but we can heat our concrete, we can use concrete blankets, we could even add, heaters to the ground and to the slabs if we need to keep it moving. And all of the contractors do have winter conditions and winter money in place in their contracts. Why? Because we're in Utah and you have to. And so we expect to just keep motoring through.
Can you remind me the tentative completion date of Westlake? I got that question and I couldn't remember.
Summer of 2024 is when we're attempting to take occupancy of that and get it ready for the start of the 24-25 school year.
So fall of 24-25, the hope is to have students fully in.
Correct.
2 more years.
What?
2 more years.
2 more years.
2 more years, okay.
Yeah. Great question, yeah.
Any other questions or concerns?
It was supposed to take 2 years to construct, I thought. Is that right?
Here, pull your mic down, Terry.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was going to take 2 years to build.
About a 30-month,
Originally.
it's about a 30-month cycle, so that's closer to 2.5 years.
Okay. And so the fall, is that a 2.5, at 20?
So we have completion dates that we call our occupancy in the summer.
Okay.
So we'll get the building several months before we occupy the building. So that's part of, when you're looking at why are we saying that school year?
January, yeah.
We'll get the building as a district and start to occupy it, start to run the systems and et cetera, but the kiddos won't be in until August.
Because we had talked about moving them in after the Christmas break.
There was a talk about a mid-year move that pushes a little tighter than we felt the construction cycle would accommodate. Everything would have had to have been perfect.
Okay.
This year's construction cycle, where we had a cement plant go down, is a perfect reason why we never want to push it that tight.
Okay.
That cement production for the entirety of the Salt Lake Valley, that ate up what we call our contingency time.
Yeah.
And so we're glad that we had the scheduling to accommodate that, and that's why we're hoping to get it in the summer and then have the kiddos occupy it in the fall.
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, Terry, I was thinking the same thing. I thought, wait a minute, there was talk of moving them in over that Christmas break to be good to go in January. So it
And
looks like,
the contractor's bid, they said, you don't want to push that. So
Right.
when the bid came in, the schedule was to occupy for the district to get it in the summer and then occupy in the fall.
okay.
Can you just remind me, Cyprus is 25-26 school year, correct? And that's still,
Correct.
okay.
Meaning fall of 25, open the doors before
should-
the school year starts.
We should receive it in the summer of 2025, and the kids would be in August of 2025.
Okay, so in summary, we've got Westlake fall of 24 and Cyprus fall of 25, and Skyline we're doing in pieces.
And Skyline's big component is the is the summer of 24 as well, that the academic wing. So that's 80% of that project will be complete in the summer of 24. So summer 24, we have brand new Westlake we're moving into, and the majority of Skyline we're moving into, 4-story academic building. 80%. It's 80%.
Some disagreement among them.
He was hoping for more, but.
Oh, okay.
80, 81, it depends on how accurate you want to be.
Okay,
that help?
perfect. That's helpful because we're glad that you're in charge of the details, the fine details of concrete and steel trusses and those kinds of things that we don't necessarily track, but that's the question we get the most is when will these projects be done?
Yeah.
So,
That's
Good to know.
the timeline. When you look at the two of us, are we nervous to put a big opening, fall of 2024 sign up? After COVID, after supply chain, after
Yep.
concrete batch plants going down, I don't like to make a lot of signs that say opening soon. We're at the beck and call of the industry right now, but
Opening sometime this decade.
I hate that answer too, but
it's good to have hope though. It's good to have a goal.
Our contractors are sticking pretty close to those dates that we had talked about.
Just put soon. And we take them off as we get closer.
Okay. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for all you guys do and pass that along to your teams as well. We know they're working hard.
A nice jacket, Justin.
All right, do we have, just curious, I saw PTA here briefly. Did they step out? I see their bag. Okay. I just had a question for them, but we'll save that for later. All right, So that was quick. So we'll break for our dinner break and be back here at 7.
Karen will play the piano for us.